Discussions to replace the town bridge crossing the River Welland had been a recurring theme throughout the 1840s. The bridge had long been unsuitable for purpose, its narrowness preventing opposing carriages to pass each other. This lack of width, coupled with the reluctance of either carriage driver to give way, often resulted in collisions. The bridge's refuges must have provided much needed pedestrian sanctuary from 18th and early 19th century road hogs. Adding to the crossings restriction was the north-built gatehouse where tolls were collected, and up to its 1777 construction on the corner of St Mary's Place, above which the town hall functioned. After the new town hall's construction, the bridge-situated town hall was superfluous and was pulled down. Arrival of rail transport, supplied by the Midland Railway Company in 1846, hastened the need for a new bridge, to handle increased traffic and provide improved access to the station. After deliberations, the Midland Railway Company agreed to pay landowner Brownlow Cecil of Burley House £5,000 to supply the desired upgraded river connection. He also received £30,000 from the Midland Railway Company for land required to accommodate the railway line. Cecil tasked Stamford brickmaker and builder Robert Woolston with demolishing the old bridge and building the new one, but at a rate much less than the £5,000 he'd received, with any excess from the Midland Railway Company's fee expected to be trousered by Cecil. But things didn't quite go to plan. Demolition of the old bridge began in June 1847, with completion of the new bridge projected for roughly 1 year later in the summer of 1848. As mentioned previously though, work didn't progress well for builder Robert Woolston. Indeed, it sometimes didn't progress at all. Flooding was Woolston's main enemy, flooding of his cofferdams to be precise. A cofferdam is a temporary watertight structure that encloses an underwater area. The water is then pumped out, allowing construction work to ensue. Early November 1847 saw a cessation of work due to cofferdam flooding, and the dam was not pumped dry until January 1848, finally allowing workmen to continue removing the old bridge's foundations. By March of 1848, interruptions and misfortune had caused Woolston to make a loss of £2,000, but he secured a revised contract, with the contract scheduling completion for January 1849. This was but a temporary reprieve, as just 1 month later Woolston relinquished his contract, and the cofferdam was once again flooded, eliciting this sarcastic report of the bridge's progress from the Stamford Mercury.
Stamford Mercury, Friday, May the 26th, 1848. There are a few men employed at the place where the structure once stood, but there does not seem to be any nearer prospect of an actual building of the bridge than there was a month after the old bridge was shut up and the important thoroughfare cut off. To inquiries of the workmen as to what they are doing, the answer not infrequently is that they themselves do not know. Within a few days, the present foreman of the works has been heard to say that arrangements to admit of the waters being pumped out of the dam may be ready in a fortnight. But when asked about the completion of the bridge, he seemed as much surprised and puzzled to answer as might have been expected of him if he had been requested to state that events would occur in the year 1900. So the affair stands, and in the meantime the public are scandalously inconvenienced, and the tradesmen on either side of the place where there ought to now be a bridge are sustaining large weekly losses.
These losses, however, did not match Robert Woolston's, who a few weeks later on June the 16th, 1848, was in the Nottingham Bankruptcy Court before Commissioner Balguy, with debts of £4,929, 9 shillings and 3 pennies. It was said Woolston had outlaid more in labour alone than he was paid for the whole bridge's construction. Labour needed to overcome the misfortune poor weather and its consequences had caused him. Woolston's bankruptcy saw the project taken over by the bridge's architects, Brian and Edward Browning. Brian and his son Edward were Stamford architects practising from 16 Broad Street. Their many Stamford commissions include Barnhill House's remodelling, and the former Stamford Institute on St Peter's Hill by Brian, and the Corn Exchange and Stamford High School for Girls in St Martin's by Edward. The Brownings experienced greater fortune than Robert Woolston, and positive progress reports were appearing come December 1848.
Stamford Mercury, Friday the 15th of December 1848. It is believed that no further obstacles are now likely to retard the rebuilding of Stamford Town Bridge. The northern arch is completely turned, and the one on the south side is far enough advanced to be beyond the reach of delay by floods. Still, there is much work to be performed, and it is not likely the new structure will be available for traffic until late in the ensuing spring.
Norman in styling and of ashlar bar pindle in the spandrels, the bridge consists of 3 low arches, each spanning 30 feet, with polygonal cutwaters and solid parapets. Solid parapets were chosen as decorative balustrade ones would have added an extra £200 to construction costs. The carriageway is 30 feet wide and the footpaths each side of it are 4 feet in width. If you're pondering what on earth pindle is, as I did when I first encountered the term, ponder no more. It's a distinctive fissile sandy limestone quarried at Wittering, 4 miles south of Stamford. The slabs of this fine hard stone are seldom above 2 inches thick, and the extra layers required in wall construction increases costs of labour and materials. The Brownings chose gritstone for the main body. Gritstone, a member of the Namurian sandstone family, was used from the Bramley Fall quarry 5 miles outside Leeds. Gritstone is some of the strongest and most durable building stone in the UK. That, and its resistance to water, provides an ideal material for bridge construction. Changes were also undertaken to properties at the bridge's northern and southern ends. On the southwest corner, the end of Lord Burleigh's Hospital was rebuilt, and the southeastern structure, now Pizza Express, was altered. On the northeastern corner, the Brownings pulled down the unsightly building occupying it and constructed a toll house. The toll house construction held at the bridge's opening until May 1st, 1849, as the bridge was actually completed in March 1849. Many Stamfordians will know the toll house better as the former Riverside nightclub. I've been asked to point out that you can't claim to be a Stamfordian if you live in Gretford. Anyway, back to the bridge. Opposite on the northwestern corner at number 4 St Mary's Hill was created a structure in harmony with the toll house. Number 4 is now home to Robert Looms & Co watchmaker. Both buildings feature heavy use of pindle stone. The previous bridge had collected tolls, but many thought the new one, having been financed by the Midland Railway Company, would be toll-free. So there was consternation when preparations for toll gates to be installed at the north end of the bridge became rumoured. At a council meeting of Tuesday the 27th of March 1849, the Stamford Mercury reported the mayor had been asked whether he could shed light on the toll gates, but he said he'd heard nothing officially, but like others he'd heard gates were to be erected. The town clerk added he'd also heard the rumour, but had no positive information to its accuracy. The town clerk was asked if he could tell what the legal toll was, to which he replied he could not. This all sounds very fishy, doesn't it? Almost as if the councillors were all in Brownlow Cecil's pocket, which of course they were. The matter was dropped when the council stated that if it became evident gates were to be installed, they would have a jolly good think about the situation. Of course, just a few weeks later Brownlow Cecil placed advertisements detailing tolls to be charged on the bridge. Perhaps he wished to recover the £3,000 budget overspend the difficult construction of the bridge had amounted. Or, as others thought, The exorbitant £30,000 he'd received for land from the Midland Railway Company was recompense enough, and the tolls were just greed. A huge thanks to Pete Seamer for more help than you can shake a stick at, and to Vic Mitchell for lending us his boat to shoot the river footage.